Okay, great. Looks like a lot of people are jumping onto the call this evening. I want to thank everyone for coming out and getting onto this module one of Note Conference Education. I just want to make sure that I can be heard. If someone could just type into the questions box that they can hear me, that would be great. Thank you. All right. Well, this conference call is being recorded. I just wanted to let everyone know that. And on the call with me tonight, I have Kevin Cordell. He's going to be helping me out with this whole educational program. Kevin, are you out there?
I'm here, Mike.
Hey, Kevin, how you doing?
Good. How
Good,
you
good.
doing today?
I'm great. I'm really excited about this program. And before we get too far into it, let's go ahead and Kevin, why don't you introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are and what you do and what you plan on doing?
Sure. Um, Hi, everyone. My name's Kevin Cordell. Currently, I'm the founder and CEO of Madison Management Services, a loan servicing company for investors. And I started with Mike back in 2007. And like you, all we were listening in on calls and learning how to get involved in the note business. And as I started buying notes and realized that there was an opportunity here to earn an income, um, albeit a passive income, and to be able to step away from my regular job. I took full advantage of that and started investing more and more in notes and also started my servicing business.
Great. Great. I appreciate that, Kevin. Yeah, my name is Mike Rasica. I, along with Kevin, started in the note business back in 2007. We've enjoyed quite a run with this business, and I currently own the business noteconference.com, which is a network of note investors, buyers, sellers of notes that has allowed us to do quite a bit of business together over the years. We've got about 200 participants in that note buying group, and it's allowed us to share a lot of educational stuff with each other. And Kevin and I have been threatening to do a formal note education for probably we started talking about this back in 2010. We saw a need for it. We like getting as many people involved in this business as possible. And so this is our chance to kind of go out and spread the word and let people know what we've been doing. It's been a like I said, it's been a great run for us. And so with that, we have another person who's going to be helping us on mostly on the note brokering side of it. His name is Mark Munzen. He will be helping me. He has been helping me with my note brokering business, and he will be helping us in the note brokering education portion of this program. We're going to have a bunch of modules that are going to handle all of the educational stuff, and you'll get to meet him and be involved with that. All right, so let's get started here. Module one, investing in notes, my favorite subject. What I want everybody to do with this is to really keep an open mind with all of the information that Kevin and I are going to share with you. It's going to be kind of contrary to what you've been taught in school about going out and getting a good job and getting a getting a high paying job and taking orders from a boss and showing up 40, 50, sometimes 60 hours a week. It's it's a funny thing to be able to do the note business and make big chunks of money while you're basically just making phone calls. That to me alone has been such a huge thing. So that's going to be going totally against the grain of what your formal education was, where you're working for dollars, um, hours for dollars, trading your life basically for dollars to make your boss rich. Um, Tonight we're going to be talking a lot about your mindset, how you're coming into this program. You're coming in skeptical, I'm sure, not believing that the note business is going to be the right place for you. But between Kevin and I, we can assure you that you're in the right place. Kevin, what do you have to say about that as well?
Yeah, this would be, uh, as you said, changing your mindset from your traditional 40-hour week job, working for somebody else, and taking orders from them. This is actually how to, in a way, get into business for yourself. Um, you don't have to start up a business and spend money starting up the business other than the assets that you would be acquiring. But it's a way for you to take control of your life and your world and be your own boss. Um, I like to know business because I don't have to be in any specific place. All I need is my cell phone and my laptop or iPad, and I can do my job, or I can operate my business. It's that freedom that this allows you to have.
Great, great. And I guess I've been doing a lot of uh, soul searching, if you will, kind of thinking back to the day that I was introduced to the note business. It really went against everything that I was taught in school, that the numbers are just too good to be true, and they still are to this day. I still am trying to grasp some of the discounts that are available out there in the note business, and the amount of money that can be made, whether you're working the notes or brokering the notes or buying the notes and flipping them out to other investors. It's just huge. Um, so please just keep an open mind and just let us take you on this journey on the note investing business. And I am sure that you'll be happy with the end result, which is having you become a very successful note investor. And another thing about success is we expect 100% success ratio on this program, and we are not going to take anything less than that. Everyone that is in our program will come out successful. And I guess the first thing we need to do is define successful. You will have, at the end of this 9-month program, you will have enough information to go out and successfully close deals on whatever aspect of this training that you decide to partake. We'll be going through the actual modules later on in the call to show you exactly what we're going to be covering in the next 9 months. It's going to be quite a journey. We are going to travel every facet of this business that we can imagine, and what we've come across in the last 6 years of note investing, so that we'll leave no stone unturned. And there's no way that a 4-day boot camp or whatever other people are offering out there can compare to the amount of information that we're going to cover. Kevin and I and Mark all learned this business the same way at the same time. We were on webinars exactly like this. We weren't covering specific modules. We think that we can focus in a lot better by covering specific modules, but we were on these conference calls bi-weekly, going through each of our deals and learning basically all 14 of these modules spread out over, it was almost a 1 year period that we were going through conference calls. So we were able to live the business. We were talking about it when we weren't on the conference calls. We were assembling. We were having our own sub conference calls, if you will, to discuss our next steps that we were going to take. It was a great learning experience, and it was a journey that we all traveled together. And we're going to duplicate that training process for everyone here on the call tonight. It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of effort, but it will be worth it. And Kevin, I'm sure you think back to the days that we were on our first conference calls, learning this business and enjoying each other's company and sharing each other's ideas.
Sure, that was a great camaraderie order in getting on the calls, and as we were learning about the business, also learning about other people's experiences as they were sharing with everyone on the calls what they were going through and the workouts that were being presented for each one of those issues, so that we could kind of catalog that and say, even though we weren't having that particular problem or issue, that it's something we could think about, and then later we go, oh, hey, I remember that now. I know what to do. It's that sharing of the ideas that we learned here as we were all learning this business together.
Right, right. And, another thing that I find, and I still find to this day, invaluable is being able to go back to those recordings. And even though the recordings were not as organized as our recordings are going to be, we had to remember that it was call 14 that we talked about. Some parts of it were bankruptcy, and call 20, 11 or 21, or, had this particular aspect or that particular aspect. Our recordings are going to be much more structured so that you can dial into to call number 8 and go through the bankruptcy issues. And I would put on my headset and listen to those recordings, and it would sink in. I still listen to this day. So we are going to be recording all of these modules for you, all of our question and answer sessions that we're going to have after the actual modules have been covered. So you will be able to go back and reflect on the information that was shared, because there is just so much information. It's, I've heard the expression drinking from a fire hose. It's going to be that much information, but we're going to spread it out over the next 9 months to let it really absorb and give you a chance to um, really dive in and use the information to your success. All right, so this takes us to the what I would call the average investor when we go out to the RIA meetings, and people that are just there waiting, hoping to find a deal, hoping to find a partner that's got a deal that they can bring to the table. It's easy. It's kind of a lazy approach. This business, we need to attack this aggressively. So the average investor are going to get average type of returns. We like to think of ourselves as not average, but much more aggressive, much more educated, and we don't sit around and wait for a deal to happen. I'm sure that Kevin, when we went into this, I would label myself before I got into the note business as an average investor, and I was just out looking at average real estate on houses down the street from me and around the block, and I was not attacking it the way what I would call a professional investor would do it. And Kevin, I guess you kind of would think of yourself that same way, or how would you categorize that?
I kind of concur. When back even before I got into the note business and wanted to get involved in real estate, I used to think that my road to riches in real estate was owning rental properties. As many rental properties as I could own, and sit back and collect the rents, and eventually be fat, dumb, and happy with that. Um, Rental properties come with headaches, tenants, toilets, and turnover. And once I got involved in the note business, I'm like, you know, this is a no-brainer to get involved into this business. It's much better than actually owning the real estate, because with the real estate, you're busy running around chasing deals. You have to physically drive around and go look at these properties. Um, take time out of your life to go find a realtor and an attorney, and it can just wear you out, or chasing dead leads.
Yeah, that's for sure. With the with the professional investor, I sincerely think the difference is because of our education. We've been able to take our education, apply it, and I've been able to create deals that just weren't there an hour before because I just saw a path to get a deal going. Like a quick example of that would be find a note investor who's having trouble with their notes and not have to come out of pocket to buy that note investor's notes, but just whittle out a deal with him or her to say, listen, for 20% of the income that I generate from those notes, I'll go ahead and help you work them. And so I've done that. I've done that several times. I have 20 notes that I do that for right now, that I receive a 20% cut of every dime that comes in on those notes. It didn't cost me anything to get into that deal other than some laptop time to research the deals that they had purchased. And that was strictly a deal that was struck out of thin air. So I'm confident that everyone that is going to go through this course will have the ability to create deals out of thin air. That's an important aspect, especially when you go out to your local RIA meetings and start talking to people about this business. They're going to want to know as much as you do about the note business, but obviously they're not going to have the time or the ambition to go through the process that you're going through as someone going through our calls. And it'll give you the opportunity to create deals with other investors that just weren't there until you walked into the room. That's huge, and that in itself is going to be worth going through this program with us. Just to have the confidence to walk up and say, "Hey, I know about the note business. I'd like to take you to the next level. Let's get involved." There's a lot of people out there with money that want to go ahead and get into this business, but they just don't know how, don't know where. And that will be our students that can take them down the road to get them into this business. That alone is going to be huge. And that alone is going to take our students out into the real world to get them to cut some real deals with some serious investors. You'll have the vision to see a deal that no one else can see. As far as maybe it's an exit strategy on a note that you purchased that other people think that I remember on our conference calls that we had some of the notes and some of the deals that we were working had been passed down through 6 or 7 generations. So what I mean by that is, I ended up with a note that I purchased that had gone through 5 other investors and the note originator before it landed in my lap. And I turned that into a win. I ended up doubling my money on that deal. And it was brought up on one of the conference calls that because of our education, we were able to take a deal that 6 other banks and investors could not close and get money out of that deal. We were able to. So that's the same type of thing that we need to pass on to our students. It's the ability to see a deal that no one else can recognize. And Kevin, I know you've done many deals like that as well, where it seemed like there was no hope, and Mark as well, where there was just no hope, and you were able to turn it around and create a win-win for the borrower and for you as an investor many times. So maybe you can share something with that with us as well.
Yeah, exactly. Um, sometimes people's hands are tied, or as Mike had said, some investors um, don't know what to do other than say foreclose if they have a note. But there are a lot of ways to turn that around into a win-win situation, um, a win for the homeowner and a win for you, and a huge win for you. Um, I turned around many deals that would have gone south, deals that other people either had um, no ambition or inkling to work, or they didn't know what to do with it. And so I took that and turned that around into a huge win for myself. And I still have many of those deals in my portfolio.
Right. Yeah. So that's going to be the difference between what we would like to think is an average investor and a professional investor is to be able to go out and make a deal out of thin air, and that's our mission. Breaking old habits and barriers. There are many people on this conference call, myself included, that came into this business with a mindset that the only way I really remember having this conversation when someone was telling me about the note business was if I'm not over there swinging a hammer and fixing a house, I don't see how there could be money to be made. I just couldn't see it. And that's just because of our previous experiences, our previous training, our previous conversations that we've had, and our lessons that we learned in school that if you're not producing and working as hard as you can, you just can't make money at it. And it's just the opposite is so true. There is a ton of money to be made in this business, and you don't need to get your hands dirty. It is work. There is going to be time and effort and stress. There's no free lunch out there, but the rewards are much more rewarding when there is a payoff in this business than when you receive a paycheck, or if you're out rehabbing houses, you have to work so hard to. It's just completely different mindset of getting into this business. It took me a year and a half maybe to adjust to the fact that the banks were so willing to leave so much money on the table. It was just it was just staggering. And now we're buying the notes even cheaper than when we had started, which means that there's even more money on the table for us. So I consider that an old habit of mine was trading dollars for hours or hours for dollars, and that's the only way that I could work. And I was in manufacturing since 1978, and if I worked overtime, I got paid. But now I have borrowers that owe me all over the country. Some owe me 50,000, 70,000, 80,000, 100,000, 40,000, 20,000. These people owe a lot of money, and I just couldn't believe that I could actually own this much debt and enjoy the monthly payments that come in. And those were barriers that I had to knock down inside my own mind. And that's where we're going to take you on this journey as well, is to knock down those barriers and just break down the education that's been pumped into my head and yours about how the harder you work, the more money you make. That's my experience anyway.
A JOB, it means just over broke.
Yeah.
So, like you, before this, I would have never thought in my wildest dream that I could buy loans from the lender, own loans that the lender created. My only thought was, oh, maybe I can find somebody who took back an owner-financed note and is tired of collecting and wants to sell it for a 10% discount or something. And still, that's like paying almost full price. It's like buying real estate. You got to put out a lot of money to buy a rehab property, and then to put money into fixing it up, and then on the market, and then try to sell it, and hope that you get your money back soon enough. And if you took out a hard money loan, just think of all that interest you're paying and points you paid to borrow the money.
Sure. Yeah, the discounts are huge, and it really is. I'm sure a lot of people on this that are going to take our program are going to have a hard time at first looking at the numbers and saying, "Wow, I'm buying $100,000 worth of debt for $12,000. Is that possible? How can that be? How can that be? And will this borrower ever can start making payments?" And yes, the answer is yes, they will. And so it's going to be a learning experience in itself, just trying to get past some of the thought processes that you have ingrained into your brain. So that's going to be part of our job, is to get you away from that and let you look at not only the note business, but just about every around every corner. Is there some type of deal and some type of discount that you can get for yourself? And I find myself looking for discounts everywhere now, whether I'm buying a car, I'm buying anything, a house, an appliance. How can I apply my note education discount to whatever I'm purchasing? And it's very possible, and I do. And um, it becomes habit forming after you go through a couple months of this process of us talking about the discounted notes that we're receiving and we're able to look at and we're able to purchase. It's going to be a part of your life for the rest of your life, not just in a note business, but in life. So these are very interesting things that we're going to be discussing over the next 9 months. Okay,
Cash is
so
king.
yeah, well, especially when it's cash that's going to be coming in and it hasn't even come in yet. It's cash that you can look forward to. So, what I'd like everybody to do right now is, where does your current income come from at the moment? It, mine comes in from the income that I get on notes. Mine comes in from the income that I get from note brokering. Mine comes in from the rentals that I do own. And I also have a couple of businesses. I have a property management company, and I have multiple places where cash comes in, so that if any one area dries up, I still have cash coming in through the other. My my personal objective is to have so many performing notes in my portfolio that I don't have to worry about brokering anymore. I don't have to worry about property management company. I don't have to worry about my rentals. That is my personal goal. And I'd like other people to, everyone on this call, to go ahead and type in the question box, in the panel, in the control panel, of where you're currently making money. And I'd like to just touch on a few points. I'll keep it anonymous so that we don't discuss anyone personally. But I'm just curious where people are earning money today. And I'm sure that there are, let's see what we have. Okay, full time job, two rental properties, and one performing note. That's great. That's great. I'd like to eliminate one that full time job and get some more performing notes into this person's portfolio. I think that would be awesome. Okay, I see another person. W-2, rentals, and notes. Great. One is corrections officer. Okay. Well, we need to add some notes to that. Okay, we have someone else who has their own business. Great. wholesaling, rental properties, nutrition business, and wife's job. That's great. So while I see some other people are still typing in, someone just bought 7 non-performing notes in July, so that's great. We can help you with those notes and get some income flowing from those things as quickly as possible. So again, I appreciate everybody typing in. I see a few more are typing in, but what we'd like to do is we really want to help you acquire income generating assets. What I mean by that is assets that are going to generate income with generating headaches. And we've discussed rental properties already. I see a lot of people have rental properties in their portfolio, and that's great. But we like to take out the some of the liability that goes along with owning rental properties. Talking mainly about insurance liabilities and some of the actual stress that goes along with owning rental properties. And most of them revolve around maintenance of the property, maintenance of the tenants, maintenance of all of the things that can go wrong in a rental property. So we'd like to see as many of you that are going to take this program with us to acquire income generating assets. Like I said earlier, my goal is to have so many income generating assets that I don't have to be anywhere. I can do what I want, I can live where I want, and I can run my business from anywhere. But we do need to go back to some of that stuff before about keeping an open mind. I know that a lot of people that are willing to take this program want to invest in their own backyard. And we need to have you have an open mind about investing nationwide because that is really where the money is to be made. It's learning in areas, learning another area, learning another area, areas that you should stay away from, areas that you should get into. That's going to be part of our due diligence process. Training you folks is to get out of your own backyard and get out into the country that we live in and get some assets nationwide. So by doing that, you'll be able to acquire a lot more assets a lot more quickly because it's just such a spread out business. As far as acquiring other income from this business besides actually assets, there are many ways to get involved in a note business, as we're going to go through in the 14 modules, well, the 13 modules that are going to be left. And we're going to review those towards the end of this program, the remaining modules. But where I want everyone to just really think where their future income will be generated, and hopefully it's in a note business. And Kevin, what do you think about the nationwide investing as opposed to backyard investing?
Yeah, that was a new one for me that I could buy a note. In fact, my first note was on the other side of the country from where I am, and that I could reach out and work with that person and get them making payments to me. That was huge because if you think about it, the Bank of America, the Wells Fargo's, the Citibanks, Chase, they make hundreds of thousands of loans every year to people who are buying houses or refinancing. And yes, in the beginning they have somebody, an appraiser, go out and look at the house to make sure that it's worth the amount of money that they're going to be loaning. But after that, there's nobody going out there inspecting or living across the street or down the street or keeping tabs in the bar or physically. They're managing all that remotely. And that's huge, that you can be able to pick up these assets that are located anywhere in the country, not necessarily in your backyard. In fact, it might be good that they're not in your backyard. That way you don't, you know, go over and look at it and worry about it. If you're here like we are in New Jersey, you could buy notes that are in California, Washington, Nevada, Idaho, Texas, and just sit back and work them, get them performing, and collect the payments. And not ever visit the property. Maybe, somebody sends you a couple of pictures and you look at it and you go, oh yeah, that looks like a nice looking house. But that part is huge, that you do not have to physically be there to go touch the property, look at it. You can do all that remotely. And you can hire people to do things for you. Mike, you still there?
Oh yeah, sorry, I was on mute. Another thing that we really enjoy about the note business is being able to look at assets that are available. I see so many people that are in the wholesaling business, in the rehabbing business, going out, knocking on doors, sending out lead letters, really just knocking themselves out trying to find deals, trying to find one deal. Short sale, they find one deal, they try to close it. It takes 3 months, 4 months of effort to find out that there's a hitch somewhere. It's not going to be accepted, and that is frustrating. When we go ahead and look at notes, we look at sometimes hundreds, if not thousands, of notes that the banks are willing to sell, and all we need to do is make a determination on what the price is before we move forward. And I can promise you that we will be able to teach you what that price should be so that you will have the ability to make money. And if you can't get that deal for the right price, then it's time to move on. So, with
Speaking of short sales, I just wanted to add a little something here. I'm sure many of you out there who have tried to do short sales have been frustrated, faxing in your packages, trying to get the bank to agree to your price. What if you were the bank and somebody brought a short sale to you? How much different would that process be, or can be?
yeah, Kevin, why don't we take a few minutes and actually just walk us through what you mean by being the bank, and because I remember that was a little confusing to me in the beginning. I'm like, well, do I really have the power to accept a short sale? How does that? Can you just give us some mechanics and from beginning to end on how something like that typically works?
Sure. Um, when you go get a mortgage on your house, you go down to your local bank or you go to Chase and you fill out all the paperwork and somebody approves it, you get the money to buy the property from the homeowner, you get the deed, and now you've got a mortgage and a promissory note that you're paying on. And who are you paying? The bank, whether that's Chase, JP Morgan, um, Citi, Wells, Fulton Bank, um, and any other credit unions. But now, when you acquire this note from the lender who wants to sell off this distressed asset, you are the bank now. You own that paper. You have the right to collect the payments that are due to you. And because of that, if the borrower wanted to sell the property, they just couldn't afford to make the payments, and they decided they wanted to sell it, and they had a buyer who was willing to buy it, they would bring that short sale package to you. They would submit that offer to you because you're now the bank. You have the right to collect the payments because you bought that promissory note from the bank. Now you get to decide at what price you're willing to accept the short sale and there's no committee to go through, no board of directors, no investor in some foreign land or security or whatever. You the individual, you are the one who makes the decision on at what price you're going to accept for a short sale and how fast you're going to accept it. That's huge. Not to mention the ability to collect the payments, because now you are the bank.
Perfect. Yeah, that is a very powerful position, and a very, at first, it may be a very intimidating position to some of you that have such a power over a borrower. But it's a power that will actually allow you to work some minor miracles to keep the borrower in their house, or to get them to the next place that they need to be. And it may not be living in that house. It may be that they need to move into a smaller house or a house that they can afford. But that is now in your ability to make that happen, to help that borrower out. And if it's a short sale that they need, then you control at what number that short sale is going to go through at, as the note holder. Or if the short sale is even going to go through at all, because you have the ability to say, no, I'm not going to even come close to entertaining that offer. We need to be at X or Y. So, note investing is a very powerful position because you take the position of the bank, and what you say goes. And it's, like you said, it's very powerful. So yeah, thanks for that, Kevin. It's sometimes it's a little confusing to figure out exactly where you are in the process as the bank. And what I'd like to do, let's see, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so Kevin, you can read tonight's summary, right? Is that up on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, because I saw someone had written in, is there only this one slide? Okay, so in summary, for this first portion of tonight's webinar, where do you want to be 9 months from now? That's a very important. What do you really want to get out of this program? Is really what should be on this slide. Where is it that you want to be? Do you want to own your own business as a broker, as a note investor, as a hedge fund manager, working notes? Where exactly do you want to be? And how, what would be the best path to get to that? The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. That's, a wise guy crack, but the next best time is now. There's no better time than the present to go ahead and get the ball rolling. Putting off things until tomorrow is very easy to do, but we feel that this is a real good time to get into this business. There's still plenty of product out there. There's still plenty of upside potential. I don't ever want to buy a note with the thought of buying it for equity or as an appreciation, property appreciation. We've all fallen into the appreciation trap back in 2002, 3, 4, and 5 with real estate housing. So we won't even use the A word. But prices do seem to be coming back, and that is very good for the note business. If we can still buy at huge discounts and get a little appreciation, we'll take it. So it's a very good time to do this. Changing your reality, that is going to be a big portion of the context that we're going to provide everyone in this training program. The reality is exactly what you see it as. It's always been that way, whether or not you believe it or not. it still is your reality, and that's going to be something that's going to take a lot of practice from people, and we're going to help everyone with that along the way as well. Do you see yourself as an investor, or do you see yourself as an employee? And we need you to get the mindset that as of tonight, you're an investor. That's my reality. I'm an investor first, and I'm doing my investing. And when you present yourself at the next RIA meeting, you need to have your elevator pitch say, I am an investor. Oh, what do you do? I raise capital. Oh, really? Raise capital for what? I purchase non performing notes and turn them into performing notes. Whatever your reality is in your mind is what's going to come out of your mouth, and that's how you need to present yourself, and that's what we're going to train you. How to be the reality, even though it's the reality for the future you and not the present you. By changing that couple of statements when you introduce yourself, it just molds you into being that. It's a little hard to explain, but you'll get it as we go through this program on this journey together to get you to the mindset that you will be what you want to be. And by getting into this program as well, you will have the ability to meet some people that you'd never have the opportunity to meet. That goes back, Kevin, to when you and I met. We were pretty much standing side by side at a RIA meeting. I would have never gotten the opportunity to meet you if it hadn't been for notes. And here we are 6 years later, still forming businesses together and sharing our note businesses. So I'm sure that you remember as well, Kevin, the people that were on that conference call that are still your friends to this day and will be for the rest of your life, because we are all so like-minded. We spoke the same language. We had the same feelings. We were able to talk about money that we didn't have and money that we did have, and money that we could borrow off each other, and money that we could share, and we all had the same like-minded goals. That's huge. That goes such a long way when you're trying to accomplish something for the future. So that's what
Exactly.
yeah, that's definitely a huge one. And I'm not saying that the friends that everyone has right now are not really good friends, but if you want to bring your business friends in, I consider you, Kevin, my friend and my business friend. And we are able to talk business and make money through each other. We've made a lot of money off of each other over the last 6 years, and I expect that it's going to continue with our note business and our friendship. So that there's going to be that camaraderie there that you probably wouldn't be able to get on a just going out to a RIA meeting and hanging out with a couple of people. I found that to be very difficult, and with conference calls, you get a chance to know the person and and an opportunity to hear their side of the story without being objective and without being subjective, and really knowing this person just by their conversation. That's been huge for us, and um, our 100% success ratio is definitely a must for us. Kevin, can you speak about that a little bit?
Yeah, I just wanted to add a little bit about what you already talked about, in that um, you never know who's a note investor, who's in this business, and like you said, you could be standing right next to a person and not even know that they're, you know, a note investor, or have notes for sale even, or could help you out with a problem that you have. It's probably like when you first got involved in real estate, and suddenly your eyes were open to the number of people who were involved. Well, this is an even smaller group of individuals who were involved in the note business, and as you grow the network, you run into more people who are in the business that you would have never met outside of this business. So this 100% success ratio, we're here to help you with all of your deals. We will be encouraging you to buy deals during the program so that we can help you work out those deals so that you can be a success. Because there's nothing worse than buying a piece of real estate or even buying a note and kind of being left to hung out to dry, to speak, and not know what to do, and not know who to turn to, and maybe in some other places there were people that you turn to, but they really didn't give you that information, so you weren't sure what to do, and you got discouraged, and you walked away. So we're here. We're going to see that you become successful, because your success is our success.
Yeah, well, I can guarantee everyone on this call that there will not be one person that will be left out hang out to dry, as you said, because it's just not going to happen on our program, on our watch. There will be times that people might get discouraged and find that this business is frustrating, whether they're trying to find banks that are willing to send them loans, or you're trying to raise capital and you just don't have enough of a track record. Maybe we're going to be able to help you through all of those issues. That's going to be key for us. There's not we Kevin and I had discussed sitting down and writing out a manual and pumping out some DVDs and say, here, run with this. And if you have any questions, go back to the DVDs and reread them and re-listen to them. That's not our style, and it's not going to be our way of education. Our way of education is the way that we learned it. There are so many people that are still in this business to this day that have gone on to be professional investors and started hedge funds from those webinars that we were on. And we are determined to make that happen again. And we won't give up. We won't let less than 100% actually take place. So with that, I'd like to open this up to some questions before we move into the next part. The next part of this program, I know some of you might have seen already if they were at the event up in New Brunswick. We're going to cover the different modules that we are going to be training on. And so let's go ahead and open up some questions. Actually, there is someone else on this call. Let's see if he's still there. Let me, someone else who actually was learning the way from the conference calls that we were on. Kevin, Peter, are you out there? Peter, he might have muted himself. Okay. Anyway, let's go ahead and open up some questions. I'm sure that people have some questions about this evening's topics that we've covered so far. Let's, if you could just, how about, I'm sure you can raise your hand and I can unmute you and we can have a chat. No questions. Okay. Let's take one more look here. Okay, let's get into the next slide. What we're going to cover now is the modules that we will be working on for the next 9 months, or at least 6 months worth of module training. Okay, a little bit brighter screen here. Um, module 2. Module 2 is going to take place in 2 weeks. We are going to be covering how to source notes. This has been a very important part of our business, finding the notes, getting a hold of the banks, getting a hold of the hedge funds, and all the different places that are typical places to look for, and also some of the not so typical places. Kevin, would you like to touch on some of the not so typical places that we find notes in this day and age?
Yeah, not so typical places would be someone like you or myself. The guy standing next to you at a RIA group who happens to have some notes that he's selling, or maybe he's brokering. She. Um, those are. I know we've probably all seen on um, some websites, people going, hey, I got product for sale and this and that, but I wouldn't consider those the typical or not so typical places. To me, the not so typical places are those people that you meet in the network who either have notes for sale or have access to product, somebody you would not have thought of contacting before.
Sure. Yeah, and now people that are going to take our training will be introduced to everyone that's in my network so that they can use that as a source to buy notes and to sell notes to, which has been the mainstay of my business. I'm willing to share that with people that we take into the training session. So that is the not so typical places. I believe I don't know of very many networks that I don't know of any note networks that are the same as Note Conference, where we just share our deals. It's been a wonderful thing to experience, and I've got some very serious investors in there. A lot of the investors that we've actually trained over the years and shared ideas with, and so there's a lot of good people out there that we can source our notes from. So there's typical places and not so typical places. Other not so typical places are I see someone who's on the call this evening that's going through our training program. They purchased HOA liens, so that's a very interesting place to go ahead and get involved in this business. And Kevin, I'm sure you've come across HOA liens in the past where the HOA is actually foreclosed. Maybe you can touch a little bit about some of that information.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, HOA liens. There are a lot of states where there are HOAs, and they're called hidden threats, um, because most of the companies don't monitor for those, and they're not included in borrower payments, and you could get blindsided by those. However, they do provide an opportunity as a source of of income and notes, much just like a tax lien. Tax liens are published, and you can go buy those. Actually, you got to go through the bidding process. Maybe some of you have been through that, um, but I believe it's possible to contact some of these HOAs, and you could potentially purchase those liens, which would give you the right to collect on that. And the HOA would be happy because they would get their money, just
Right.
like the tax authorities.
Now, on an HOA lien, you said you have to go through the bidding process, which seems to be the case typically. Where does the
No,
over? Go ahead.
I said a tax liens you have to bid.
Okay, well, actually, I believe that there was some bidding on this HOA because it was a foreclosure from the HOA position.
Oh, that's possible if they went to if they were taken to sale.
Right. And I'm wondering where the overage goes if there was an overage on a bidding process for a homeowners association loan or
Uh, that
deed.
that that would that would depend upon the position of the HOA lien, whether it supersedes the first mortgage or it is behind the mortgage. So an overage would generally go to the next person in line, the next party in line who's entitled to collect.
Okay, are you familiar with Texas HOA?
Uh, Not particularly. I haven't run into anything there yet.
Okay. Well, I was just wondering if the HOA liens in Texas actually do supersede the first, because I know that many states the HOA is second to the first mortgage.
Um, I did I did have a chart on that someplace. Let me see if I can dig that up
Okay. All right.
while you
Well,
talk.
yeah, we can do that while we're going. So module two is going to be sourcing notes, and some of the not so typical places may also include. Um, let's see, maybe what was the last one that we were just talking about? PMI insurance companies. PMI insurance companies end up buying or end up with a lot of loans that they actually do have to insure because of default. They get the paper. That is a great hidden source for notes that people just end up with, and they do sell them at a discount because they've already gotten their money. So they're happy to release those things at a discount. That's another not so typical place to source notes. Okay, module three. We're going to be covering the five W's: the who, what, where, when, and why of notes when you're purchasing. Who are you buying from? That's a very important question. Who are you buying from? Are you buying directly from a bank? Are you buying these HOA liens we were just talking about? What exactly, who exactly are you getting these deals from? Has a lot to do with the pricing that you're going to get. If you're buying them in bulk, then you're gonna get exactly bulk pricing. Um, what exactly are you buying? Are you buying a first lien? Are you buying a second lien? What are you gonna? What are you actually looking at? Where are the deals located? Are they located nationally in states that have judicial, non-judicial foreclosure rules? Where are they located as far as states that have a tremendous amount of default, or are they in good locations? Um, when you're looking at notes, when will we close? When will we take possession of the notes? How will the collateral files come? When will they show up? When can I expect it? Why? Why in the world are you buying these particular notes that you're looking at, and why in the world is a seller selling those notes? These are all very good questions that we'll end up covering in detail in module three. We can we could spend an easy 3 hours on that module right there alone. Module four, the due diligence process. This may be broken down into two different conference calls. There's so much to go through on due diligence, and it's key to our business. It is what makes or breaks a trade. And when you're using investors' money, you better be buying some good product. This is Like I said, this may be broken down into two-hour segments, or maybe even three if we don't feel that we've covered it thoroughly enough. You need to determine the good, the bad, or the ugly. And once the good, the bad, or the ugly have been determined, then you need to come up with a price. And every note should be able to be priced correctly so that you can make money on that note. You may only be able to collect $2,000 on a note. That means what? You're going to bid $200. You're going to bid $300. Or you may end up taking that note for free if you go ahead and take down some of the other notes. So that's all going to be covered in Module 4, due diligence. It's a very important topic. They're all important, but due diligence is probably the most important. And that is a big one right there. Module 5 is closing the deal. This is where you find the assets that you're ready to purchase, and now you need to go in there and assign a price to them. And of course, you want to get these notes at the best possible price. So if you assign a note at, let's say, we put a value of it at 18 cents on the dollar. Of course, we're not going to start at 18 cents. We're going to start at a lower bid, and 18 cents is going to be our max bid on the note. So there are certain techniques that we'll get into as far as when exactly do you submit your bid, how to get the notes sometimes after the bidding date is set and scheduled. Sometimes we come in a day later, and these are all techniques that we will be getting into in detail about how to close a deal for the best possible price. There are note sellers out there that are very sophisticated in counter bidding, and there are some not so sophisticated bidders out there that we found that we can negotiate better terms just for the fact that they're not so good at it. So without getting too deep into that, that is a key factor to really maximizing your profits in this business, or maximizing the profits for the investor that you're brokering the notes out to. Adding stipulations that protect you into the purchase and sale agreement, very important. It's very rare that you will close on a group of notes and it will be 100% pristine purchase with no issues that happen later on, no buybacks, no little things that jump up and bite you. You need to be covered before the bid takes place and the purchase and sale agreement is signed. So the ins and outs of a purchase and sale agreement, some of the documents are 14 pages long, sometimes are 3 pages long. We have documents that we use that we're going to share out with everyone. We have every document that we've ever used with attorneys, with borrowers, with banks, with sellers of notes, with buyers of notes. Every document that we have will be available to you. We have forbearance agreements that we've created that borrowers just love to sign and get involved with. We'll be sharing all those documents out as well with the program. That in itself will save you thousands in attorney fees, because these documents have already been drawn up, and we will be sharing that out to everyone. They'll be stored in Dropbox. They're actually, I started creating the file system for that already, and that in itself is going to be very valuable for everyone. Module 6. Okay, you've created the purchase sale agreement, you've wired the money, the notes have arrived at your doorstep, you've got a big old cardboard box full of notes. Now what? You'll need to know how to go through the collateral files, or you will need to know how your custodian or your servicing company is going to go through the collateral files so that you can administer to them how you want these collateral files exactly to be handled and what to do in case of missing documents. That is very important in this business, because Your purchase and sale agreement will usually reflect a 1 month due diligence process after the note is purchased to make sure that all the documents are in order and available. So you have a short window to board these notes, and you need to do that with some precision and some pretty skilled eyes to look through these files to see what's missing and what's a copy and what's an original. We'll be covering all of that in Module 6. The advanced account balance calculations, that alone will, if you end up buying more than 10 notes, will more than cover the cost of this program. There are servicing companies will charge upwards of $300 to $400 for the advanced account balance calculations for every note that you hand them. So, Kevin, are you there? Maybe you can address the accounting balance situation for us.
Sure. Knowing the the account balance, exactly what we would call the receivable, what does the borrower actually owe on a given day? There's a calculation that needs to be done based upon the promissory note and perhaps any modifications that have been done since then by anybody else, that would all have to be taken into account to determine what is it that's actually owed. You're you're not obligated to, go for the maximum amount. You could just say, you know what, I'll accept X as the amount owed, and and go from there if you wanted to. And all these things we can help you with in determining that. Yes, there are um, companies that charge money, and I'll tell you, my servicing company charges money. If you were just to hand me like a um, equity line of credit, that's a type of promissory note without a fixed. It's called variable loan, like a credit card. Now we have to determine what exactly does the borrower owe, especially if I have to take legal action. Well, there's calculations that need to be done, and I have to charge a fee in order to have us or somebody do that for us. And it's very important uh, to be accurate with that. We'll also show you how, as we said here, maximizing the results with your servicer. Whether you were to put loans with my servicing company or any other servicing company, I don't care. But we'll teach you how to manage the servicing company, who's going to be servicing your loans. It's very important. You just don't hand them the file and just, hey, go collect the money and call me when something comes in. No, you need to be very proactive in the beginning and monitor what's going on with the servicer and make sure that they have your goals in mind and what's your exit strategy. What is it that you want to have happen, and see that they're working towards those ends and not somebody else's. After all, you're the bank now. It's nobody cares about your note except you, and you need to be on top of it. And that's what we'll teach you how to do.
Right. Yeah, maximizing results with your servicer. This is a key point where I've seen actual companies go out of business thinking that they can go out, buy 20 loans, hand them to a servicing company, and spend the rest of their day going out looking for more notes. And the servicing companies are going to charge a fee for the non performing notes of, I don't know, $70, $90. I don't know what a non performing fee is on some servicing companies, but they will charge fees all over the place and have actually put hedge funds out of business just by the fee structures and the lack of attention that the servicing companies have given to their non-performing note portfolios. That in itself is what you're going to get from this program is going to be huge to maximize your servicing company. You need to know how to work these assets yourself. Even though you're not going to be working these assets yourself, you're going to be handing them over. You really need to know how to do this yourself. That's what we're going to cover. How do I work my own notes? So that you can have the discussion with the servicing company. No, this is how I want you to present the conversation. I really think that if you follow these guidelines that I'm going to give you about this particular borrower, we will be able to come to the results that we need to get to, which is payment or whatever your goals are. So, maximizing your results with your servicer comes down to you personally knowing how to work loans as a servicer yourself. And Kevin owns a servicing company. I mean, what better attribute can you have on your side to learn this business than to know how a servicing company operates from the inside out? Kevin is going to be sharing that with us. So, Kevin, thanks for that. That's Module 6 is going to be very interesting. It might turn out that Module 6 turns out to be 2 conference calls as well, because there is an awful lot of information that needs to be shared with how to actually handle your loans. Okay, Module 7, financing, finding money, raising money. At some point, every note investor will want to raise capital for more deals. I'm in the process of raising capital right now for a hedge fund, and we are about to launch. So we're in it right now, doing exactly what you've done. I've created one other fund in the past. Kevin has a fund under his belt. One or two, Kevin?
Let's see, I have actually 3 funds.
Okay,
One,
and great. So there's a lot of rules and regulations regarding raising capital, what you can and what you can't do. Although we're not going to be giving you legal advice, I am going to bring on the attorney that has created my private placement memorandum. He will be willing to come on the conference call for Module 7 to give us some free advice that typically would cost someone $500 to just to get a hold of that information. So Module 7, we will be having at least one guest speaker, which is an attorney, and we're looking forward to that to find out the do's and don'ts of how to raise capital for buying non-performing and performing notes for a hedge fund. That's going to be a very good one. Module 8. Module 8 is probably going to be our largest module. I have a ton of interest in this. I believe that almost half of the people that have signed up for our program are interested just in Module 8, profiting without cash to be a note broker. It's been a main portion of my business. It's been a main portion of my note conference network on brokering notes out to my investor friends. And this is the area that Mark Munson is going to help me out with because it is such a large task. It's been a large part of my business, and it continues to be, and I want it to actually increase and grow and use our students to be able to share the profits that I've been able to enjoy. So if you want to learn how to either make money in brokering or maybe take half of the fees down as income and the other half come in as non-performing notes into your own private portfolio. That's what I recommend, is taking partial cash for the fees and the rest of the money coming in as uh, assets, performing or non-performing notes. That's how I've grown my portfolio without having to save up. I can actually get into these deals with no money and keep these assets, get them performing, turn around, flip them out, buy some more assets, and actually build a business that way. I don't know of too many other companies out there that are offering any type of education that we're going to go through. I ended up becoming a note broker out of necessity. My network had pretty much dried up as far as any notes coming into for us to purchase. So that's when I reached out and found some note sellers that were willing to work with us. And I finally figured out a business plan that will put money into my pocket and get my friends notes. And everybody is happy about that. Very happy. So that's going to be an interesting one. This may be 2 modules or 3. Kevin, you can take off for that if you want. I don't know if you want to get involved and help me out with one of them, but this is going to be a very interesting one. I know that Kevin was on the receiving end of a lot of the notes that I was able to broker. Kevin, thanks for buying my notes.
You're welcome. Thanks for offering them.
And anything to share about this brokering end of this business?
Yeah, by working with a part of this, not this process here, is not only in teaching you how to be a broker, but how to work with a broker and how to determine good brokers from bad brokers. Because working with a good broker makes the process go so much smoother and easier than working with a bad broker. And a good broker can help you source product. They'll bring you product that of what you're looking for, not just sending you a spreadsheet and go, hey, is there anything on here you like, and wasting your time. Um, a good broker will actually help you grow your business by bringing to you just what you need, just what you tell them that you want.
Excellent.
And Mike's been great about that by bringing it to his investors the products that they're looking for.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that. Thanks for that, Kevin. You need to first be a good note investor before you can become a good note broker. You need to know what an investor is looking for before you can broker notes. That's where everyone that's out there on LinkedIn fails. They fail to make that connection to know what note investing is all about. What is it that a note investor is looking for? We're going to cover that first, and then you will be able to become a wonderful note broker because you know what an investor needs. Because that's how I learned. I became a note investor first for a couple of years. Then we ran dry of product, and I went out to find more notes for myself and for my friends. And I fell into being a note broker and found out that, wow, I can make a lot of money doing this. And I can really make a lot of friends because I know how to do it. I know what they're looking for. I know what it's like to get a garbage tape, a garbage list of notes that there's no information, that all the information still needs to be populated. So I'd go ahead and do as much due diligence as I could before I even presented it to Kevin or to any of my other friends. And they were like, hey, yeah, you know what? I can go ahead and pull the trigger on these 10 notes because I have plenty of information here. Let's go ahead and move forward with these. So you need to be an investor first before you can be a broker. And that's the value add that I think is going to be a good one in this note training session. Module 9, profits from bankruptcy. Kevin, I'm not even going to open my mouth on this one.
Sure. Many people shy away from notes because the borrowers filed bankruptcy, but those those notes actually offer you a unique opportunity if you know how to take advantage of those opportunities and to make money and work out a deal. It's you know we could look at a tape that a lender has, and there'll be bankruptcies on there, and there will be other investors who go, "Oh, I don't want the bankruptcies. They're just too much to deal with. They're just a headache." Uh, I like those because they present an opportunity, whether whatever kind of a note it is. There's an opportunity that could be taken advantage of, and what we'll do here is we'll explain the bankruptcy process, um, the the different types of bankruptcy that borrowers would be filing, how you can learn about all that information, because when a borrower files bankruptcy, there's a wealth of information that you can get about the borrower and that lien, and show you how to utilize that information to your advantage, and how to be successful with bankruptcies and make money when other people are running away. And that's all
Yep.
I have to say about that right now.
Okay, great, Kevin. Thanks. I appreciate your bankruptcy skills. Never goes unnoticed. Module 10, advanced exit techniques. There are many techniques out there that people just are not aware of. I don't want to get into details tonight because there's just so many different things. But I promise you that there are techniques in here that people have not heard about or have explored, and this is going to be a very valuable lesson. What I mean by exiting is getting out of your deals with cash, whether you're selling your note, you're getting a borrower to make a payoff. There are so many techniques that we've applied and successfully to get out of our notes and get on into a cash position so we can go buy some more notes. That is going to be worth it in itself just to get out of your deals. It's well worth the course. Advanced purchasing techniques. There are reasons that some people shy away from notes, and some people gravitate towards other notes. We've figured out some other things that you can do that people are not looking at, and you can buy a note with your exit already pretty much in place. That we don't recommend that you have just one way to exit a note, but it's you should always buy a note with your exit strategy in place before you ever purchase it, just like a house. So we've got some advanced purchasing techniques that we're going to share in Module 11 that will definitely help you get out of your notes and get into a cash position quickly. Purchasing notes for specific government programs. You may have a target in mind to say, listen, I'd like to get these people into the hardest hit program because they lost their job in 2009, and the state that is offering these funds won't have these funds forever. So let's go ahead and buy this note, get them into the hardest hit, get this note reinstated and back into a performing status, and there you go. That's worth the cost of the program right there. Just boom, done. Module 12, investing in junior liens. This to me is where Kevin and I started out in the business. If you can buy a junior lien, you can definitely buy a senior lien, because when you're buying junior liens, you need to be aware of the first mortgage, the senior lien. just like those HOA liens. It's not about your position, it's about the first mortgage, whether it's going to wipe you out or not. The reason that there's such the best kept secret is because of the discount. There are banks out there that don't even know that there's a market for these things. Those are the banks that we are going to target when we get into the brokering end of this business. We're going to teach you how to target specific banks that have specific product that we need to get our hands on. So, Module 12 is going to be another very important module that we need everybody to participate on. And Kevin, handling REOs. I've got a couple. I know you've got a lot more than I do. What do you think? Now what? You got the property in your possession.
Yeah, that's that's almost like I got the note. Now what do I do? Well, you foreclosed and you got the property back. Now you're the proud owner of this property wherever it's located. Um, now you need to know um, what are you going to do with that? What are your options? That's what we're going to teach you here. When you take back an REO, what are the options that you should be thinking about, and how are you going to go about those various options? What are the things that you want to plan for? And I have some REOs. Mike helped me out with them. I fixed them and got a management company in place and have tenants in there. So now I have some rental properties that are out of state. Oh, but I forgot the most beautiful thing about that, of owning those rental properties, is there's no mortgage because I own the property free and clear. They were first. Unlike my rental properties here in New Jersey, which I have mortgages on and are huge headaches. But that's all with handling this REO. There are many things that you could do with that, just like the note, and we'll walk through all those steps and show you the things that you need to do, what to look out for, the pitfalls, and profits that you can make from REOs.
Nice. Nice. Yep. At some point in this game, if you're going to be in a note business, you're going to be in the REO business. So be prepared. It's nice to go into the note business knowing that if this does happen, you know how to maximize it. It's not just getting through it and hopefully you might make some money. It's actually how to maximize your REO process and get the most out of it and use our experience to maximize your profits. Module 14 is something I'm very familiar with, creating a network that works. I am so thrilled with the network that I have. A great bunch of people that we've all come through the ranks together, and I'm very proud to have that network, and I'm proud to share that network out with our students that are going to take our session course here. It's been a very powerful tool for me. I have never spent one day in the note business alone. I've always had people that I can rely on, whether it's Kevin, whether it's Mark Munzen, people that I can call up and say, "Hey, I got this deal. It's driving me nuts." Blah blah blah. Whatever the issue is, boom! I send out a blast email to 200 people. Let's have a discussion on an attorney that's giving me a hard time, an attorney that's giving me a serious fee structure headache. I send out an email. 45 minutes later, I get 13 responses from some great minds. That, to me, a network is powerful. I want to teach everyone that takes our course how to build their own satellite network. It's imperative that everyone has their own network. If they want to use my GoToWebinar software to go ahead and hold their own meetings, that's fine. Whatever it takes. I'll show you the tools that I use to have my own network. the different free email situation stuff that I use. I have a pay webinars and pay email services that I use as well. I'm willing to share everything with everyone. You really need to use the power of a network to increase your net worth. This is all about making money here. And the only way that I make money is by helping a lot of people. If I just have to get on the phone and talk to one person, I'm only helping one person. I'm not going to make as much money as if I can help 200 people all at once, or 50 people all at once, or even 10 people or 20 people that are going to be on this course. I need to help as many people as possible for me to make money, to help them make money. So that's the power of the network. And when I say network, it's different from networking, where I go out to an event and I see 400 people and I start handing out business cards. That does nothing really. I may meet one person or two people that end up with some type of value add that they can bring into my network. That's really what I'm looking for, is people that are going to join my network that have a value add, whether they're an accountant that understands some of the stuff that Kevin was talking about, breaking down a HELOC, a variable HELOC, or an attorney who's fluent in bankruptcy law. That's what my network is all about. And everyone here will learn how to create a network if they take our course. Okay, so let's see. Our job at No Conference Education is to make you become better at acquiring assets that will make you richer faster. If we had to just sit there and put our paycheck in the bank and wait for the interest to accrue, it's going to take you a lot longer than if you were to take our course and listen to us and let us help you acquire assets that will make you richer faster. That's our goal. That is our main goal. And with our 100% success ratio that we're shooting for, there's a good chance that you're going to end up being very successful in this business. Kevin, what do you have to add with that?
Yeah, I was going to add that in general, the rule of 72 says that you double your money every 7 years if it's in the bank, earning a nominal rate of interest, whatever that may be. But just think about if you could double your money in 30 days, 60 days, 6 months, even 12 months. If you could double your money, you're way ahead of the game. And that doubling your money is, I'm not talking about, just like a huge amount of money, like $25,000, $50,000. Even if you bought a note for $5,000 and you received 10,000 back from the borrower because they paid you off, you doubled your money. That's a huge rate of return. Even if it took, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months to get that, you're not going to double your money in the bank or anywhere else in that short period of time. Yeah, unless you got a lucky stock tip and bought some IPO that came out and doubled or tripled in value and you sold it. That's unusual. But doubling or tripling your money with a note, that's not unusual. I'd say that's more the norm.
It's more the typical, right? Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is how it works. Each module that we've just covered will be a live webinar held by Kevin and I. I have written down here 12 webinars, but it looks like it's more like 14. By the time we get done, it probably will be more like 15. We're not holding anything back for the next 14 webinars or modules. There's no upsell. There's nothing to be held back. There's going to be a question and answer session after each module and Q&A sessions following the modules, that you'll be able to ask as many questions as you have to get you on the right track. The conference calls will be held by Kevin Cordell and myself, Mike Rosica, and occasionally guest speakers that we will have. Like I said, I'll have that attorney in here. If I see a need for other people, there's plenty of people in my network that have already expressed their interest in becoming part of this wonderful training program. These are people that you just can't get a hold of, just for the simple fact that you just don't know them, and that everyone is very excited about this no conference education that we're kicking off tonight. Okay. At the end of the 14 modules, we will offer 3 months of one-on-one phone consultation, whether you decide to call Kevin or myself or Mark. You'll have all three of our phone numbers, and we will pick up the phone. We want to make sure that you receive enough information to become successful with your deals. Whether you're trying to sell a deal, you're trying to get involved in a deal that you have no money with, you're taking a percentage down, you've got an investor that has some money that wants to partner up, where they bring in the money, you bring in the expertise. We'll walk you through that. We'll walk you through whatever type of deal that you can arrange or that we can help you arrange. During those 3 months of one-on-one conversations, we will also be providing question and answer calls, where we'll get together during the day or in the evening, whatever works out best for people, and we will just discuss people's deals. It's going to be an open session. There's not going to be any muting or unmuting unless there's just some background noise. It's going to be an open chat. Hey, I've got this deal in Pennsylvania. The attorney's giving me a hard time. What do I do? Okay, this is Kevin, and I will walk you through exactly what you do. You have a question, we'll have an answer. If we don't have an answer, we will provide you an answer as soon as possible. We'll find out someone who does have the answer for you. So we hope that that's going to be enough support to make sure that you become successful with your deals. Okay, no conference education, how it works. The price for the complete package is $59.95, and that's soup to nuts, meaning that there's no upsell, there's no future, hey, you might want to buy this workbook. You need to get this. Let's take on a little more private education, for another $10,000. Absolutely not. $59.95 is going to be complete. You're going to be done. You're going to know as much as we do about the note business. Because this is our first session, we're giving a $100,000 off bonus, because it is new to us and we need people to participate so that we can get up and running. We will probably have another session starting in 9 months from now, after this session is complete. We haven't figured that one out yet. That's probably how it's going to work. So that's the price for the package. We think that the $59.95, or it's actually $49.95, you should be able to recover that in this business in no time. And if you're involved with real estate, you understand real estate, you understand that $5,000 is, just a number, and not a very large number for 9 months worth of training. Kevin, do you have anything to add on that?
No, I think you covered that. I mean, you can't be cheap on your education, especially when you're learning something from experts in the industry. Mike and I are going to share with you our experience of the last 6 years in the note business, everything that we've learned, everything that we know to help you become a success. And as I said, you should be able to recoup this in the first one or two deals that you do. Um, you know, I've paid tens of thousands of dollars for other real estate training in the past, and because of that training, um, I got into the note business in a roundabout way, but it got me to where I am today.
I agree.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
So
education is an area you just can't go cheap on.
I agree. Yeah. If we were throwing you a workbook and some DVDs of us doing some pre-recorded stuff, and say, okay, you're on your own. We'll allow 5 or 10 emails. Then I can see why it might only be 2 or 3 thousand bucks, and off you go. Don't bother us. Don't call us. We'll call you. So that's our price. We feel it's a very fair figure, and it's very recoverable. Just like if you want to get in touch with us, please go ahead and shoot us an email at sales@noteconference.com. If you want to go ahead and sign up tonight, it's go to www.noteconference.com. There is a PayPal button on the home page. You can go ahead and click that and use PayPal. If you don't have a PayPal account, you can still go in there and just use your credit card and make the payment there. You'll see a spot in the PayPal account that says do not have a PayPal account. And you can just go ahead and put in your credit card information there. Everything is secure. You can go ahead and mail your check payable to Note Conference Education. Send that over to our office at 1201 Springwood Avenue, Asbury Park, New Jersey, 07712. And we'll be looking forward to working with everyone that's on this call this evening. It's been a pleasure. I really appreciate everyone taking the time out. We're very excited to launch this, and we look forward to working together with everyone to a successful future to you all. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Mike.
Hey, have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to working with all of the new students who sign up.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting, and I'm really looking forward to getting back on the Wednesday night routine, just like in the old days, and start talking about some notes.
Yep.
All right, cool. Good night, all. Thank you.
Uh,